like a battery. I'm staying charged on my feet, I'm like a factory. Dropping lines like an assembly. I'm staying on point.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to ZukaTube, and today we're going to be reviewing Titans Season 3, Episode 5, titled Lazarus. And a lot of people predicted this, and of course they are doing it in this season, so that's really cool. They're going to touch on the idea of the Lazarus pit, and there's not really any promo for this episode that I could find that was decent. Everything was kind of matched up with scenes and random stuff. It wasn't like any official promos like I had shown with the CW ones or any of the other stuff or trailer wise. So I'm going to get right into this, and one thing I'm also going to do right away is I'm going to jump in with the spoilers thing, because this episode is mostly kind of a flashback episode, I'm going to say right away, to where it's kind of just giving you the backstory of how the Red Hood character we've been learning about, Jason Todd, how that came to be. So I'm going to go right ahead and just pop up the spoilers right away. Boom. Spoilers. Boop, 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 boop. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to basically give you the whole summary of what kind of goes down. I'm going to play a couple clips and everything and just kind of talk about it, because there's not really a whole lot of information as far as new information goes, but there is new information in a sense of we kind of get some things that clear up what happened in the past to make Jason Todd into the Red Hood, because obviously you get that idea right off the jump that this didn't happen just by himself kind of deal, like he just got resurrected magically, right? So basically in the last episode, right, you see Blackfire got released and everything, and you had the kind of conflict with Red Hood and Nightwing and Scarecrow being like potentially missing at the end, right? And it picks up with Jason meeting up with Scarecrow in the woods, right? Red Hood. And then it does a flashback for 3 months ago and shows Jason frantically running around Wayne Manor and being shot and everything, and Wonder Girl like approaching him, and it turns out being like a weird dream thing, right? And Jason and his friend Molly, who gets introduced in this, right? It shows them looking for a kid named Diego that disappeared, and they find this guy who's like a Joker associated kind of guy, right? And Jason freezes up and becomes vulnerable due to the trauma from some of the stuff that happened to him in the previous season, right? And he's having some issues with just everything that's been happening. And Jason has a session with Leslie Tompkins, who also suffered, trauma from the Scarecrow, right? And Jason keeps kind of suppressed the whole time. And then they show this kind of cool thing where Jason goes through Batman's trophy room and shows like Scarface's dummy, Two-Face's coin, Al Ghul's sword, Catwoman's goggles and whip, the Scarecrow's mask, and the fear toxin, which is that thing that you think he's kind of playing around with in the previous episodes when they're showing how he kind of escalated into becoming the Red Hood at first, right? And I'm going to show a cool clip of that because that's really awesome. Pretty cool to see these. Oh, look, some Joker cards, Bam, there's that fear toxin. He's like, ooh, I'm intrigued. Give me the fear. Check out that sweet mask. That's a pretty good Scarecrow mask, I would say. They did a good job with this whole trophy room thing. And then Bruce Wayne comes in, right? And Jason and Bruce, they have like a slight heart-to-heart. And basically, he acts kind of like a father figure, calls him like a son and everything like that. And then they show Jason's second meeting with Leslie, right? And shows like he's not shit without Robin, basically. Like, and he needs to be Jason as well. And Bruce takes Jason to Crime Alley and apologizes, for making him Robin. And Jason kind of feels like a little more like he's being punished for that. Like he failed him and kind of wants to prove him otherwise. So like Jason goes to Arkham to meet up with the Scarecrow to talk about potentially producing an anti-fear toxin. And Jason offers inside info on Batman and Scarecrow once out of Arkham. So right away, the betrayal, man, you see that go down, and that's kind of major, and really, really wild. So that kind of proves that everything that was said in the last episode, by Dick about knowing he was working with him and all that stuff, that's all pretty much true, and that whole thing gets played out in this episode, right? So I'm going to give basically my review for this episode before I go into the final details of some of the stuff that went down. I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. This was pretty good. Not as much action as I had hoped for, but the introduction and kind of the cool little Easter eggs that they throw in there, and staying kind of true to an aspect, or a decent amount true to the aspect of the Red Hood character, is pretty enjoyable. It's really cool to see a lot of that play out, and them try to figure out a way to keep as accurate as they can with how inaccurate aspects of the show have been throughout the previous seasons. So they do a good job with this whole thing, right? So again, 8 out of 10 on this. You definitely got to check out Titans. Watch it if you haven't, and if you have already, let me know what you think of these episodes so far in this season, and if it's off to a way better start than with the previous season, right? So Scarecrow wants out of Arkham, right? And they show him doing trials and testing the toxin and everything. That's Jason, that is, right? And he tests it, and ends up going face to face with the Joker and gets beat to death, and kind of they show him being taken to the morgue, and then him getting picked up and taken away from that, and then being put into the Lazarus pit, right? And you see the Scarecrow, he celebrates it all, and it's the rebirth of Jason as the Red Hood, and they build him up, and they kind of get him ready and prepped for becoming the Red Hood, and they show Red Hood taking out the Joker affiliated guy from earlier and overcoming his fears from the guy that he kind of locked up with, and but he also goes and finds the Diego guy for that girl Molly, and they show he's got some sanity in there still, or maybe that's the last remaining bit of it, kind of before that fades away to him fully becoming the Red Hood. However they play that out, but it was cool to see that whole thing go through, and I'm going to play just a little part of the whole him transitioning into Red Hood. You see a little bit of Scarecrow doing his little celebration.
Oh, Gotham, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I don't know how much I'm a fan of this weird, stoner hippie version of Scarecrow.
Really
That's one thing I'm so about.
No guilt. No fear.
Oh, you see him loading up. They still don't show you how he became so good with guns so fast.
You. We'll punish all of them for what this city has done to us, and then you'll be their symbol. Gotham doesn't understand justice. It only understands terror.
It only understands terror.
You'll be their mirror now. Stand tall, Red Hood.
Yeah, listen to the hippie guy. You are now the Red Hood, says Scarecrow. But yeah, that was a cool little I guess flashback showing you how he became Red Hood, and showing the Lazarus pit, and showing the stuff with him kind of changing the fear toxin into an anti-fear toxin, and kind of selling out Batman and everybody, and giving you a little bit more of how he became Red Hood and how all this shit ended up going down, and how obviously he didn't plan this stuff himself, and how he was able to do it with the help of people like Scarecrow, who is obviously a very intelligent and capable villain, right? So like I said, again, 8 out of 10 on this episode. Definitely cool. Check it out. Let's see. This was called Lazarus. This is Titans Season 3, Episode 5. Now, I can't wait for Episode 6 next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. Zukatube out.
feel like they tracking me. Yo, let me get on one. Nah, go get your tracks up. Homie, can I steal some? Homie, you can't stack up. My brother, can you shout me? You're barking up the wrong tree. My dog, why do you doubt me? Cause you can't do shit without me.
Real at the radio and never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate it.